What's going on, y'all? Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you'd like to donate to the channel, the cash app's at the top right corner of the video. But let's get into it, man, because I want to break down these lyrics to y'all that we went over the last few days. Now, as you may know or may not know, Drake had taken legal action against UMG for allegedly inflating the numbers for Not Like Us, and as well as defamation in regards to the song Not Like Us that was created in the rap battle with Kendrick Lamar. Now, Drake taking legal action against his label because he thinks that they're inflating the numbers for Not Like Us is crazy, as well as him suing for defamation, saying that they let him play this song and get away with it is even crazier, considering that you were also dissing Kendrick Lamar and taking shots at his wife and his children. But that's another story for another day. The one thing that I did want to talk about in regards to this was because after all of this happening, at the same time that this had came out, Drake became a name in another newspaper, in another news article. Drake found himself wrapped up in this situation again involving XXXTentacion's trial, or the murder trial that happened in regards to XXXTentacion. The killer of XXXTentacion's trial is filing an appeal, and they're pointing the finger at Drake. Now, let me remind you, the first time that this happened, they dismissed it and said that Drake didn't have to go to court for the situation, even though they tried to gather enough proof or enough cause to have him come into court or at least participate in a Zoom call. But they said that it wasn't enough. I believe a representative of Drake's, or lawyer of Drake's, an attorney of Drake's, was able to get this cleared and say that he can't come to court. But now that everything is transpired with UMG, weirdly enough, he's back mentioned in the case. Like I said, Drake taking legal action against UMG is quite a coincidence, considering that now his name is being brought up in this case again. Now they're going to file an appeal, and now the killer that is filing the appeal is pointing to Drake again, this time with a little bit more proof, revolving around the things that have happened in the later year and the time after they were arrested and charged for this crime. A lot of people had took to Drake's music to see if he's ever talked about this later on after the fact. Now, this happened a while ago. This happened a while back. I think this happened a little bit over a year and a half ago, where the people that were charged for the killing of X were sentenced to their sentence. Now that this happens right around the time UMG and Drake are going against each other. A lot of people had took to Drake's lyrics to see what it is that he's talked about in regards to this. And funny enough, the last album he released, For All the Dogs, he had actually talked about the situation that we were talking about recently. He had actually talked about the situation with X and him and the police and the questioning that took place in regards to him. Now, this song is called Daylight. A lot of things being said in this song, one of them being the chorus saying, shot him in the daylight, shot him in the daylight, shot him in the daylight. If you don't know, XXXTentacion was shot in the daylight. Yeah. And then a lot of people are alluding to the fact that X has a song called Moonlight. So they're saying, Drake saying daylight, shot him in the daylight. And then we have a song with X called Moonlight. And then referring to X being shot in the daylight, people think, and this is speculations, keep it alleged, people think that this is a song referred to X. Now going here to the second verse in the song, Drake says, I wasn't there when they caught the body. TPS, which is the Toronto police, he says, TPS think that I bought the body. Internet swear that I bought the body. Take more than that to go pop somebody. Them guys talk about everybody. So low-key, I'm happy they got somebody. And Genius is out here saying this. Drake addresses the rumors surrounding his involvement in XXXTentacion's murder, going as far as to reveal he was probed by TPS, Toronto Police Services, for his involvement. He concludes by proclaiming his innocence and states he is content with the case being solved, as it allows him to distance himself from the situation. Now, it's just funny how it's worded like this because distancing yourself from a situation because the case was resolved by finding the people that did it, it just feels weird now because the people that are framed, the people that were caught for doing this crime, it appears that they're trying to point the finger at Drake. Now, like I said, bro, a lot of things have happened since X's killers had gotten caught, since X's killers were arrested and sentenced to jail. A lot of things had happened. A lot of things have taken place. Drake has been on the internet. His henchmen have been on the internet. They've been making threats on the internet. There's been a lot of things going on after the killers were arrested. And I think that's the reason why they're moving forward and trying to appeal this case and pointing the finger at Drake at the same time. But let me remind you why they were looking at Drake in the first place. Now, this all goes back to other lyrics that Drake had made previously, talking about SMX, Triple X, semi-shooters. There was a lot of lyrics that he had said previously as well that made people question what he had to do with the case. Another thing that made people feel like Drake was involved in the case was when X was still alive and he was on Instagram saying that if anything happened to him, it was Champagne Poppy, which is Drake's Instagram handle. This, with everything else that he said, it made him questionable. It made people think, well, did he really have any involvement? It made others think that he had involvement. It made people look at Drake, you know, did he do anything? Did he say anything? Was he involved in any type of way, in any shape or form? A lot of people were confused and they wanted to figure out if that was the case. Drake here saying that he wasn't involved and that he's content that they caught somebody only because now he could distance himself from the situation. Dissing somebody that dissed you, but because they are dead is crazy. It's even crazier when someone disses you when they're alive and then you decide to sue. Like, this is the craziest thing that I've ever seen in my life, bro. I still can't understand why Drake would do something like that. You have somebody out here who had passed away, lost their life in a crazy scenario. You're out here taking subliminals, taking shots in song lyrics, but basically dissing a dead man. But you can't take the heat from some man who's alive. You can't take the heat from somebody dissing you who's alive. So you have to go and sue. Nah, this is crazy work, bro. This is insane, bro. But like I said, y'all, Drake right here in this song is basically admitting that he was questioned by the police. This is taking us back to the time where he was questioned in regards to this case when they tried to get him to appear in court. It just didn't work out the way that they planned. Now, moving forward, he's making songs talking about the situation. So could he be questioned again? Drake's aware of it. He wrote about it in a song. He talked about it in a song. Will he come out in this case? I don't know, bro. I honestly don't know. The fact that Drake knows about the case, he spoke on the case on his last album, For All the Dogs, talking about Toronto police, talking about being questioned, talking about his involvement and the way that they try to get him involved in this case is very interesting, considering that UMG and Drake are going at it and then his name gets brought up again in regards to an appeal. I think that Drake definitely is aware of the situation. There's a reason why he wants to distance himself. I wouldn't diss nobody who had passed away, and I wouldn't diss them just for cool points. I wouldn't disrespect somebody who's already dead, and then especially go and sue somebody who's dissing me while they're alive. So you mean that you could disrespect the dead, but you can't take the heat from somebody who's alive? It's a really crazy scenario, bro. A really crazy scenario. We're going to see how this thing happens. We're going to see how this appeal happens. I think they might hear the lawyer out. If not, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens moving forward. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about this situation. Y'all tell me about how you feel about Drake addressing this and For All the Dogs, talking about the police talking to him, talking about the XXXTentacion case, and talking about him trying to distance himself from the situation. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about this, and y'all tell me how y'all feel about him disrespecting a man who's dead but wanting to go and sue a man who's alive who's disrespecting him as well. So y'all tell me how y'all feel about that. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video, man. Peace. Keep it a legend.